This is Trigger Point, episode 20. My name's Serena, and sitting across from me is my co-host Peter. Hello, Peter.
Hi, everyone.
20 episodes.
Oh, is it?
20 I just said episode 20. 20 episodes. It's just hit me. Oh, my God.
Done this for a while now.
Yes. 20 months.
I know, right?
Wow. Okay.
It's a lot more dedication than I think we had planned at the start.
Hey. I expected that I would continue it. I'm surprised you're still doing it.
That is kind of true.
We're not going to spend too much time talking about other things this month, I don't think.
We aren't?
Well, the only thing of note is Andrew broke his hand the other day. So I have 68 weeks of that to look forward to. all the halving and sharing of duties and chores at home.
Yeah.
No.
It's all you now.
Yeah, I'm like, if you wanted to get out of washing the dishes, you don't really have to break your hand to do it. So yeah, it's fun watching him trying to get into a shirt in the morning.
Yeah, and you're not helping.
No, look, you can't help with everything here. You need to learn how to, do certain things by yourself.
Like putting a shirt on.
Well, yeah, exactly. And opening packets of powder for drinks. Like he was making a milk tea kind of thing. He picked up the packet, he looked at it, and he realized he can't open it because he only has one hand. And then I'm like, yeah, okay, let me do it. Before you decide to, hold it between your legs and then rip it with the other hand and have powder going everywhere, let me do it. Or use a pair of scissors next time. So that would put us out of Swordcraft.
Yeah.
For about 2 months. Because, if he's not going, I'm not going.
Yeah.
Well, in a way, I'm like, this is like the best possible time you could be out, to be honest, because it's
winter,
wet and it's just disgusting to go out and it's soggy and you're wearing metal armor and then you have to wipe it dry afterwards because it would
Mold.
rust.
Yeah.
Rust. So there's that. So that was me. What about you?
What have I been doing? Really quickly. So, you know how a few episodes previously I was talking about the Virtue's Last Reward game?
Yes.
That I was playing, and I really enjoyed it. So I bought the first game that came with it, which is 999. So it's called 9 People, 9 Doors, 9 Hours, something along that line. And I also bought the sequel to it, which is Zero Time Dilemma. And so I played the first one. Also loved that. And so I was like, oh, that's great. Now I've played the first two, I can play the third one. I'm not enjoying the third one at all.
Oh, no. Why? Is the story just rehashing old things?
No, they've... So the first two were more visual novels.
Yeah.
They were visual novels, right?
Yeah.
With some voiceovers. This one they've moved into purely cinematic, so everything is voiced. There's no reading.
Okay.
Well, there is reading, but everything's voiced.
Acted.
Everything's acted, which is fine. But they also animated everything,
which can be good.
Yeah, but it's not great animation. Like everyone's really clunky. Like you have them walking around, and it's just really
disjointed kind of.
Yeah, it's just like don't know. Like why? Like if just don't show me that. Just so. The visual is really putting me off, and it's also a lot more. It's very gory.
Oh,
this one,
and they make it animated as well.
No, okay. So the first two, they had people dying and people getting killed and stuff like that, and they show you bits, but not enough to kind of make you go, ugh, that's disgusting.
Right.
This one, they show you someone gets stabbed and blood splatters everywhere in this really awkward way, or you have someone stabbing someone and his face is then covered in blood and he's still doing the same thing. I like. Look, I'm not a big horror fan.
Okay.
I don't like horror stories. I don't like watching horror movies. I don't mind it when it's suspenseful, like the first two,
a thriller,
and it's done in a way that is artistic in a sense. This one is just like, let me show you how much gore I can put into this game and show you it. And so, I'm having a lot of trouble with it. And not only that, there's a few characters that from the first two games that comes back in this one.
Okay.
The problem is, one of them, they've changed his character so much.
Oh.
And I'm like, that just doesn't make sense. Like they try to explain it, but it's like, that's not believable. Like, and it's kind of like, you're ruining what I have of him. Your vision of him. And like, now you're just like, actually, there's a few characters that has that. Because of the 9 characters, there's 6 of them that you do, no, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, how many is it? 3, 6, 9.
Why would they do that, though? You would reckon, okay, if they brought these characters back as a marketing thing to bring you back into the story, to buy the next game, I understand that. But why change the characters?
Yeah.
Is it just so that it fits the story?
Yeah, like there's certain things that they needed to do in the story, so they needed them to be...
in a certain way.
And look, I haven't finished the game yet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate the game.
Mm-hmm.
I like it enough that I'm going to finish playing it, but I can't... It's not a game where... Look, it wasn't like the first 2 games where I was like, I couldn't put it down. Like, I finished it like in like one go.
Yeah.
This one, I'm like, okay, I've done 2 scenarios. That's enough.
Okay.
I'll wait till tomorrow to do the next 2.
Would it be better if you thought of it as a standalone game?
It probably would. It's just because the whole scenario is based on the first 2. I'm kind of like, So anyway, I'm just kind of, I don't know what I'm thinking about it at the moment. Like
you don't know how to rate it.
I don't know how to rate it yet.
But so far it doesn't look good.
It's not great. So which is really annoying because I really like the first 2. So I'm like, ugh.
Sometimes you think, you should quit while you're ahead.
But the problem is because the second one ended on a cliffhanger. This one is supposedly the one that ties everything. It's supposed to be the ending.
Okay.
And so
that sucks too when the characters don't follow through.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was playing that. I've got another game that I'm really looking forward to play next month.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's called Detroit Being Human. That's the name of the game. It's about in the future where these androids are they sentient or learning to become sentient, and it basically you just follow the adventures and the story of like 3 different androids and how they kind of mold into this world and stuff like that. I played a demo late last year, and so really liked it. So I'm like looking forward to play that and see how that goes. See how much time I have.
When you were talking about the Android game, it reminded me of an indie game that I saw. I think was it last year or the year before at PAX about the vacuum cleaner. The automated, like the Roomba kind of vacuum cleaner. It's like a story that you see from its point of view, and it's cleaning an apartment that is empty, like it's been abandoned, and you see evidence of foul play.
Oh.
And so you're trying to learn the history of what happened to the owners.
Yeah.
Like there's broken glass or like a piece of... I don't know the game. I don't know how it plays, like the mechanics of it, but I like the idea. Right? Like it's like, oh, okay. So the character that you're controlling can't tell you anything. But you kind of learn.
You're trying to grab like information from its actions and stuff.
Yeah, so it's like a detective thing. So I'm like, oh, I need to look that up and because I would believe that it's out now. So I need to go and look it up and see where it is now.
Yeah.
But I remember one thing that happened that I got interviewed on another podcast.
Ah, yes. Yes. How did that go?
That was very fun. That was very interesting. Like a little look behind the scene, a peek behind the scene. We currently record in your living room.
Yep.
Right? We have a table. We have our mics and stuff set up, all very like professional looking and everything.
Really?
For
home I guess
podcasting. And when I was doing this at home, this actually links on to our previous episode because I was editing our previous episode, and you know how I said I had to record an extra bit warning people before to not listen to the episode until you watch the show.
Yeah.
So I was recording that downstairs in my living room, like what we're doing now, and I noticed something, and that was my fish tank is very, very noisy. The pump was coming through the mic.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, oh, crap. Now, it was really late and I couldn't be bothered re-recording it. So I had to balance out and filter out stuff. So hopefully it wasn't too obvious that you could hear like the in the background. But it also meant that I knew I can't record there.
So I guess a good thing that we didn't try recording at your place last time.
Yeah. Well, in my brother's side, it could have worked, but there's no table.
All right.
Right? Yeah. So I decided that I was going to do what I've heard other podcasters do, right? Find the most
padded place?
Most padded and audio audibly. What's the word? Audioly? I don't know what the word is. My mind is blanking out on
Audibly?
me. I don't know. Just can't remember. So the best
Acoustic?
setting. Yes, that's the word. Acoustically. Yeah. Anyway, you go into your wardrobe.
Yeah.
Because all the clothes will absorb any kind of like vibrations and everything. Yep. So luckily, I have a slightly big enough wardrobe that I could fit a chair in there and my microphone and everything, and I had my laptop on my lap. And because it wasn't a very long interview, it was like
10 minutes. Was it?
It was supposed to be 10 minutes. I think we went on for 15 because
we talk.
They already cut down a lot more. I thought that I only needed to because the interviewer is from Portland. We had a little trouble trying to find the perfect time that she's still awake and I'm still awake and all that kind of stuff. So it was on a Saturday morning, 11 a.m., which not too bad, except for the fact that I somehow turned off the alarm and I was supposed to wake up at 10 and I didn't wake up until 11 when Andrew's like, hey, aren't you recording? And I'm like, oh, crap. And I had to roll out of bed, turn on Skype and said, I'm sorry. And they're like, brush your teeth, drink a cup of coffee, wake up. It's okay. We can wait for like 10 minutes or whatever. Luckily, I set up everything the night before. So, drink something and then I sat in my chair. Luckily, with podcasts, no one ever sees you.
You can be as disheveled and unprepared.
Yeah, my hair was probably like sticking up all over the place. And we talked until I think 1 or 2 because we were just chatting and stuff like that. I guess we should talk about what the interview was about, because and I cut this out from last month's show, so people don't know about micro.blog. So I'm removing myself a lot from social media. Like I'm not going on Facebook, I'm not going on Twitter as much. It's been like nearly a month of me being away from Facebook, like except for the most minor situations. Like I might need to check back on like Swordcraft news or something. So I might need to go back on like once every 2 or 3 weeks or whatever, because Andrew would keep track of it mostly for me. And I notice now when I go back to Facebook, I feel dread and I feel anger whenever I read the timeline, because social media, they've decided that to get people engaged, the best emotion to keep people engaged and on your site is to show them things that would cause them anger. So I'm seeing a lot of things like posts where people are arguing about things. Because even in the groups that I'm in, like whether it's fountain pens, whether it's Mac stuff, whether it's anything, all the things that show up a lot, other things where people have a lot of differing views. And when your timeline's just flooded with that stuff, and I'm looking at it, and I feel like I want to join that conversation and argue. And the moment I have that feeling, I'm like, no, I'm leaving. I'm just closing the tab because I have better things to do with my time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So there's a thing called micro.blog, which is like an alternative kind of thing. And so I've been part of that community, and it's kind of fun as well because it's very techy. And so there's a lot of tweaking and stuff of my WordPress blog, and I'm having a lot of fun doing that. I had to go into the PHP stuff, and it's just, it's just like things that it reminds me of the early 2000s. When you have your own website and everyone's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this stuff." Anyway,
how do I write my script so that this can happen?
How do I change the CSS sheet on this?
I have no idea what you're saying, by the way.
So I'm in that group, and a lot of people are talking about things, and everyone trying to keep positive, right? Like you have the random post about people complaining about Donald Trump. You can't avoid it, right? You can't avoid it. And it's just very interesting, and I get, and people are very involved in the community trying to work out how to build this platform to be the best it could be. And they have a thing called Micro Monday, which is their way of introducing other people to other users. So it's like, oh, you should follow this person. They write really interesting posts about guinea pigs or whatever. And they also have a podcast called Micro Monday Microcast. Their Microcast is like their podcast that's like 10 or 15 minutes long, and they go and interview people in the community, asking about them, where they're from, what they do, kind of thing. And I think I'm the 10th episode, I'm the 10th person in. So that was kind of interesting and fun because it's my first time recording with a person who's not sitting across from me.
Yeah, how did that work?
Well, we use Skype. And she would record both her end, like her audio, and record the Skype audio. So if anything happens, she still has a backup. Right? And then I record my version. And then
send your one.
Yeah. And so how most people align the audio, because how would you know when to start? How do you align your audio stream and my audio stream? Because we might both start recording at different times. Is that you count 1, 2, 3, and then you clap your hands. Okay. Because then you can see on your timeline where the sound comes in, and you align up the two things, and it should work. Now, there's a thing called audio drift because the clocks on our computer run slightly differently. So if a podcast lasts as long as ours does, there's an audio drift. Like yours would probably be a little faster than mine, and they go out of sync. And there's ways around doing this. But for a podcast that's 10 to 15 minutes long, it's fine. Like, we don't have to worry about that. So that was kind of fun. And it was interesting. Although it would be annoying if I had to do podcasts with people in different time zones a lot. Because you have to, like, organize the time, I know, right? Have to wake up right. Like, I can't do it on any of the weekdays. Because how could I record at 11 a.m. on a weekday? That's just not possible. And you have to be, the other person have to be willing, because it was like 7 p.m. for them, and they had to rush home from work, or they might still be at work, or whatever it is, right? You just have to align it properly.
I think that's the problem. Like once you start doing something that's across different time zones, there's always going to be that issue there. Unlike a lot of actual like work, for example, where you can just go via email and you can just wait for the other person to respond whenever he's ready, because this is a real-time thing. It's like, working conferences where people working through different time zones. It's a terrible idea.
but in saying that, this is not one of the things where you have to do it in an office.
No.
You could do it at home. As you said, I was wearing my PJs. Right? It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter how you look, what you look like, whether you
be presentable.
I don't have to be presentable at all. Like some podcasts makes jokes about I would probably be not wearing pants and you will have no idea.
That is true.
Yeah, right? It's like,
By the way, for everyone, we are wearing.
We just got off work. We're both wearing work clothes.
Hey, so that's interesting. That was a nice, fun little.
Yeah.
Thing. Did you promote our?
Yes, of course I did. And I'll put a link to the episode too.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, then shall we get started on this week's topic?
Yes, we should.
Yes.
Okay, so we watched a Taiwanese movie, a 2007 movie called Secret, starring Jay Chou. For people who don't know who Jay Chou is, he's a Taiwanese singer. But he's also a director, like he directs most of his MVs and stuff like that. So it wasn't unexpected that he would want to do a movie
at some point.
And this is kind of like a musical in a way, like not a singing, dancing musical, but musical in the sense that music is a
big part of the show.
So, do you want to summarize the movie, or should I summarize the movie?
You summarize it.
Okay. Warning again, spoiler alert. You should watch the movie first, because it's not like Sixth Sense, but there are a twist in this movie where if you know the twist, then it kind of ruins the movie.
Maybe.
It would have ruined it for me when I watched it in 2007. Obviously, you're watching it now 11 years later.
Yeah.
Like, as you know, as you've mentioned, the landscape for movies are different.
Yeah.
You could see some of the things coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
The pace of the movie is not something that you appreciate as much nowadays.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if you well, you didn't. I was going to say, especially after Infinity Wars, then I realized
I don't watch that.
you don't watch Marvel movies.
Yeah.
So for all those listeners out there who are hoping that we would do an episode on Infinity Wars or any Marvel movies,
I'll probably do Ant-Man if I do watch that. Oh, actually, no, I do want to watch Fantastic Beasts, the second one. So
that's got nothing to do with Marvel.
No. I was saying like that. Just like that as a movie thing that we could do when that comes out. Anyway.
What about Solo?
Huh? Solo?
Han Solo.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm on the fence on that one.
Oh yeah, I don't expect it to be good at all.
I know, right?
Which is why it would be best. It would be the greatest one for us to do. We just rip into that one. We just like completely destroy that. Oh my god, have you seen the trailer?
No.
I watched this trailer. I'm like, oh, I really don't want to watch this movie. It looks so boring, like so boring. But then I saw the fan-made trailer.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to show you this later. I've finished watching the fan-made trailer, and I'm like,
That looks pretty good now.
that's not too bad. I could do that one. I could watch that one. But this is not a fan-made movie. Right? Like, do I have to watch the movie after it comes out and been recut by a fan? I'm like, oh, okay, this is a good movie. The original one is not so good.
Anyway, okay, Anyway, go back to the story.
Okay, Secret. So, this is a love story about I hesitate to say musical genius right from the gate, because it doesn't really matter that they were musical geniuses in this movie.
Not
No,
really.
because everyone's a musical genius in this movie. It's a high school love story where every single actor in here is probably 30-something years old.
Yeah, that's playing
18-year-old.
18-year-old. Yeah.
But still believable. Because
Look, it wasn't. Look, none of them looked particularly old.
No.
So it's not as if like, oh my god, like you're really.
and everyone scales up.
Yeah.
Right? Like the adults look much older.
Yeah, and it's also, especially when you think about movies, it's always comparison to everyone around you. So it's not like, he's surrounded by people who looks really young, so
No.
it makes him look old, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's the same age, so you kind of say, okay, if this is the age of everyone is, we can just assume that this is,
But at the same time, if you do really have an 18-year-old playing this role, I don't think I could take this story very seriously.
No.
No. Because this is supposed to have like a kind of like a reminiscent, kind of like a nostalgic kind of, this is how high school felt like, in your hazy rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah.
This is how high school was. Like everyone.
If I think back on all the great parts and all the things that I liked about high school, this is what it was like.
Yeah, where
Ignoring everything else that was terrible about high school.
Oh, they did touch upon how terrible and horrible your fellow students can be.
Yeah.
But overall, if you think about your high school and then you think about how you had that major
fuzzy
crush
feeling.
in high school, like how your entire high school career revolved around this major crush, this is what that movie is kind of like.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a twist, obviously. We'll talk about the twist a little later, just so that in case other people are curious and ignored our warning, you still have a chance to go and watch the movie before we spoil it entirely for you. So you have a boy, his name is Jay. You could say the Mandarin name because I can't remember how to say his Mandarin name. Because I watched this with English subtitles. We'll put the link in again. You can watch it on YouTube. There's an English subtitles, Chinese subtitles, and they speak in Mandarin.
Yeah. We just use the English name since, this is the one that you know.
Because Peter listens to Mandarin. He understands it. I don't. I read the subtitles. So the names in English are nothing like the names in Mandarin.
No.
The meanings are there.
Yeah.
But the words are different. So you have a boy. His name is Jay. he's going to a new school, final year of high school, and it's a very music-centric school. And he's a music major. He's a piano major. And at this school, he meets this mysterious girl. Her name is Rain. She's also a music genius. And you go through their kind of like their love story.
Yeah.
How they are coy at the start, how they kind of flirt around a bit. And this is the moment where you kind of like get all those warm and fuzzy high school feelings there.
Yeah.
But there is like a mystery surrounding Rain. Like she.
Well, I wouldn't say there was there's a bit of a mystery, but that's not the focus at the start.
Not at the start, no.
The start of the show really is just about the two of them, how they blossom. I guess.
But she has a tendency of not coming to class.
Yes,
right.
Like,
so that's
she
where
disappears off.
Yeah, there's a strange thing is like, oh, she doesn't show up to class most of the time. Yeah. There's like she's frail or she's like sick, and you have this kind of like a slight mounting fear that this show is one of those ones that's gonna make you cry at the end because the girl's gonna die. And you're watching the show, and to be honest, when you summarize it, there really is nothing to it. If I don't tell you the twist, that's all the story is. Yeah. They fall in love. Yeah. They have the misunderstanding that you expect most rom-com to have. Although it's not a comedy.
She thinks he likes someone else.
yeah, kind of thing. And you have a crying moment kind of thing. And in the end, they get back together, right? If you just summarize it like that, that's all the movie is. That doesn't sound very deep, and it's not a very deep. It's not a deep movie at all. No. But this is an experience. It's a very light, fluffy, and it brings back high school memories kind of movie. Now here's the twist. Again,
spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert! God damn! Do not watch this show until you. Do not listen to this episode till you watch the show. The spoiler alert is the reason why she's never in class is because she's actually from the past. She's a time traveler. Yeah. And as with most time travel or any kind of like weird movies, there's a rule. Like these things don't happen randomly. Yeah. And the rule surrounding this is that when she travels into the future, because she's 20 years from the past, when she travels to the future, the first person she lays eyes on, that person could see her. Yeah. No one else can. So she, at the start, met him accidentally because he walked into the room that she was in. Yeah. And she saw him. And then she had a crush on him. And so she tried her best. Well, she figured out a way to close her eyes and walk from the music room where she
played.
Okay. Well, I guess we need to explain how she.
So it's very funny in this movie. The way one person time travels is by playing a piece
of music.
A piece of music
at a specific
speed.
No. Also at the piano. It has to be that piano. Yeah. Right? Because this is a very old and prestigious music school. That music room has been there for ages. And
has a very old piano that is still tuning. Like
in tune
and everything. So you have to play on that piano.
And then you could travel back in time. Or forward in time in her case. Yeah. And the idea is she always, she has to travel from 20 years ago in that music room to 20 years later in that music room. Yeah. But she has to avoid seeing anyone between then and to when she sees Jay. Yeah. So she figures out that, I know where Jay's classroom is. Yeah, it's 108 steps from the music room. I'll just close my eyes, figure out, memorize the steps it takes to get to that classroom.
And open my eyes then.
Yeah, and face in a certain direction and open my eyes and I'll see him. He'll be the first one I see. And I'll be able to see him, and he'll be able to see me, and we get to interact. Yeah. So this gives the story a much deeper, not much deeper, but more depth, right? Because during the movie, she'll make strange comments. She'll be like, "Did you know?" As part of the flirting thing, he'll ask her something, and instead of answering, she will say something entirely random, or at least random to us, right? Yeah, she's like, did you know that it's 108 steps from the music room to your classroom, to our classroom? Yeah. And, you think, she's just avoiding a question. Yeah. Why would anyone know it's 108 steps? But at the same time, they're both slightly unique characters. So you could see that she would be the kind of person who counts her steps.
Yeah.
Right? So you think, oh, okay, she made that observation. That's kind of interesting. Yep. Or the other time when she's riding on the back of his bicycle, she'd say, I really love your back. Yeah. I really love the sight of your back. And you're like, that's kind of strange. But kind of cute at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. But then when you realize that the amount of effort she goes to be able to see him. Because she was saying that, it's really amazing that we met each other. It's really amazing that we get to talk to each other.
Yeah.
And again, you think it's just some kind of passing comment, right? Yeah. Like, there's so many people in this world and we met each other. It must be fate. Yeah. But that's not what she's actually saying.
She actually has to take a lot of effort and do a lot of things just so that she can actually see him.
Yeah, because there's so many times she fails. Yeah. Someone accidentally bumps into her. Yeah. Or she
opens her eyes and sees
someone
different.
Someone else is sitting in his seat. And then, that day's wasted. Like not wasted. She just gets to talk to someone who she doesn't care about, right? Yeah. And that gives you a whole new perspective of every single interaction that she's had with him. And that was, for me, that was like, oh shoot, like this movie went on for a year, right? Like story-wise, it was like a year-long kind of thing, right? He started school and then he graduated. Yeah. So that's a long time to be doing this, right? And the amount of times he says, "Oh, I didn't see you in class today," and you wonder, is it because she didn't show up? Like she was back in her time doing her schoolwork, which she is supposed to be doing, or
it was just because she failed this particular time.
Yeah, and she's actually there, but he couldn't see her. Yeah, right. So that for me was what was kind of
heart-wrenching.
Yeah, a little bit. I go, that kind of hurts. Yeah. Now, okay, I had to say all this because I have to say that I really like this movie because I watched this back in 2007 when this kind of idea was very fresh.
Yep.
When they did the reveal, we were like,
"Oh my god!
Oh my god! Oh no, the poor girl! Oh, what are you gonna do? No!" But I know, Peter, when you watched it,
so I only watched this film, obviously, just this last week, in 2018. So a good 11 years after the movie
came out.
And so pretty much the second scene that I saw her in it, I could tell that she was either not part of this world or that people can't see her or something. Like, it was pretty obvious from my point of view that she wasn't really there.
Because he called out, "What's your name?" And then Sky turned around and said, "You know my name."
You know my name. Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, so typical, like, those like, oh, he was or she wasn't really there to begin with. But in saying that, I do agree, because nowadays that kind of trope has been used so often, or so many films have done it in such ways that,
or similar
ways that nowadays in that sense I picked up on it really quickly. Whereas, if I had watched this, 11 years ago when this was all still kind of a new idea, a new concept, I would have been, didn't see that coming. So unfortunately for me, it didn't ruin the movie for me, but it meant that the reveal was not really a reveal for me. The twist wasn't really there. I could tell that the twist was coming a mile away.
I think also because...
But it was okay. It also didn't matter that much to me. No. Because the thing is, the twist is just one facet of it. The thing for this film is about the romance between the two of them.
Yeah.
That twist is just one plot point.
Yes.
It wasn't the main thing that you're supposed to get from the show. Like, the show is about the two of them and their interactions and their love story at the end of the day. Yeah. So even though I knew what the twist was, it didn't lessen or dampen my enjoyment of the film. Yeah. I could still enjoy it and I can still appreciate it. And I appreciate that, back then it would have been a show that I was like, I didn't see that coming. So
because I think at the same time, as I said, this is a very light movie. And when I did the summary, there wasn't really much in it. No. And I don't think nowadays you can, not that you can't, but I don't think a lot of people make a movie with
such only simple
premise.
Yeah.
They would have you got the main plot point, and then you have a subplot point, and then you have a secondary subplot, and then you have like 16 other subplots going on in a movie. They try to make it as complicated as you can.
I guess in that sense, I really appreciated this film because this reminds me of when films were only like,
one story.
And no, it just like was like an hour and a half, maybe like less than 2 hours long. Like,
there's no sequel or prequel
it was just like, standalone, very short, sweet, done. Like I missed that when I was watching this film. I actually feels like I like watching films like this. Like I don't necessarily feel like I need to watch a 3-hour long marathon before I get the whole story. This brings back that simple movie-going experience that I kind of lose nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, think about the last rom-com that's been around. That's not just a ridiculous comedy slapstick thing.
Yeah.
Like, remember back in, like, we're showing our age, but I think, like, early 2000, late 90s or whatever, it was, like, rom-coms back to front, romantic comedies everywhere. But they were, like, simple but it was...
But it was good because, like, it didn't need or didn't necessarily have to have, convoluted plot points and, like, things that just take away from the main. Like, this was very simple. Just the main love story. And that was it.
You just go along for the ride, right? Like, and it gives you warm and fuzzies, and I got a lot of warm and fuzzies.
Yeah. So that's the basic story plot.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about some of the characters, shall we?
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, in saying that, I enjoyed how simple the movie is. There is problems associated with that. Because apart from the two main characters, pretty much every other character are like this single dimension.
They're tropes.
They're tropes, and they don't grow at all in the film. They're just there. Which is kind of... it's kind of disappointing, like especially when you look at it from a movie-going... from a moviegoer's point of view in this current age, where we expect your secondary characters to be more
three-dimensional. They have a storyline. They have a backstory.
Even if they're not like important or integral to the main story, there's some underlying story from her point of view or his point of view. And they're not necessarily one-dimensional. They grow. They You can see them.
Their drive.
They're not just there because we're there. And that's the problem I think I had most with this show, because everyone else was just like, what are you here for? Like, you're just to fill in the time, pretty much.
Well, like you mentioned, like the dad, Jay's dad, who's also a teacher at the school, you were saying that he's not very consistent. His character's not very consistent.
No. Like, on one side, you have him being like the supposedly disciplinary person
at school.
But then next minute you see him, he's this like laughable, bumbling dad,
embarrassing dad
that like gets his son to dance with him
in the living room.
It just. There's no consistency, and basically they're only using him for whatever that scene requires him to do. It's there because he's the convenient character to do X, Y, and Z, and so his character will change according to what they need him to do.
Okay, no. Okay, you could say that humans are very faceted and very in-depth, and therefore they can incorporate both the strict teacher at school and the embarrassing dad at home. Yeah. But this movie doesn't give you enough to justify it.
Exactly.
For you to make it believable.
Yeah.
Like, you need to see what he feels like, what his drives are, to be able to see, oh, he's a single father at home. Like, we know this. We know this, like, we know this technically, we know this, that, single father at home, he's struggling to raise his kid. His kid is reaching an age where he's doing weird shit, like he's meeting a girl and no one knows who this girl is, that kind of thing. you could see how, for him, all of this stuff is really weird, right? His son, who used to be such a good student and focused on his study, suddenly runs out of his graduation ceremony for God knows not what, right?
Yeah.
And from his point of view, he might be scared because he had that experience where he talked about the student he had 20 years ago who was also, her head was in the clouds all the time and had hallucinations and stuff and died in the end. So from his point of view, yes, I understand that, but because you don't see enough of him, you don't see that...
Well, we don't see the transition.
No.
So we don't see him transitioning from one facet to another facet. It's so abrupt that you're like, wait, how does that work? Like I need to see that transitioning phase in order for me to say like, no, this is still the same character. I'm just saying a different side of him. Whereas if you're just throwing me these facets at me, it's like, well, which one are you wanting me to actually see? But the thing is, because this film is not that long, they don't have time to show all of that, which I get. Again,
as you said, this is a story that's focusing on the main two characters and their love story.
Which is why I think, although I have a lot of issues with this movie, I enjoyed the movie because for what it does well. And for what you're looking for in this show, it does that well.
Yep.
And everything is just because we're just nitpicking on things now.
Yeah. Well, look, as we've, we had a conversation before recording, but this story, this world exists in isolation.
It exists in a bubble.
Yeah. It's an anime world in a way, right? You have this perfect school in the middle of God knows where, that's focused mainly on music, filled completely with music geniuses who's not fighting tooth and nail to try and get ahead of everyone else, because we all know the music industry is not really that large to fit all of them, and they can't all be like the next Beethoven, but they're also polite with each other and they're all working together.
Even when they supposedly have a battle like between the piano
battle. Oh, I love that scene.
Yeah.
But
it ends really amicably. It's like, that was really, you did well.
Like, how do you even judge? Who wins that? Right?
It's like he's the piece that I promised.
Yeah, he's the musical score that you wanted.
Yeah,
right? The really rare one.
Yeah, it's just like, really, like, that's so nice of everyone.
There's no backstabbing.
Yeah, none at all. So this movie, it is an anime world. It is one where, if you look too deeply into this,
everything
breaks apart, and everything was like, that doesn't make sense. Like, that wouldn't happen. So when you're watching this film, you have to kind of just accept the world that they're giving you and go with it.
It's not too hard, though.
No, because I think they do that well. Like, they give you the world, and it's like, just look at this world, and
they follow the rules that they give you.
Yeah, the internal world itself is fine, because like the visuals about the school fits
very consistent.
The whole show in itself is consistent. It's just when you start questioning the reality of things, it breaks down really quickly.
Yeah.
So suspend your belief, and everything's fine. Anyway, but getting back to the characters, what did you think about the two characters?
Okay, so this movie kind of, romanticizes the two of them. Oh, they're artists, right? They spend their downtime playing the piano or listening to classical music, or like staring off into the sunset, thinking pensive thoughts. So that, like, it's a very slow movie. Both characters are very slow-paced people, right? Because this whole world, everyone's like very slow. Have you seen a single car in this movie? Right? Jay Chou rides a bicycle. Like, he has the fastest like mode of transport in this show. Everyone else walks, right? Everyone has 1 million hours in a day. They just slowly meanders home. Like the daylight hours between school, like when school ends and when they get home, is still daylight outside. I don't know, the day just goes on forever. So it all romanticizes. Everything is like, it's cool. Like they're kind of like hipster. Like they're so hipstery. I can imagine them, typing on a typewriter and writing letters to each other or writing poetry. And saying all that, when you think about it, like, when you step back from the movie and think about it a little bit, you're like, they're both kind of awkward loners.
Yeah.
Like, neither of them really have many friends apart from each other.
Yeah.
Like, I understand Jay Chou started a new school, but where were his existing friends from his previous school?
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine that his previous school was that far away. Yeah. And you start a new school. It's been a whole year.
You make some friends.
The only friends you made were like the two losers in the soccer club that,
who technically aren't really your friends because they don't really know you.
They kind of take advantage of you, maybe. And like they're more like friends of convenience than anything else.
Yeah.
You have a girl who have a crush on you, but I don't think I haven't seen you talk to a single other person in your class except for this imaginary girl. Well, she's not imaginary, but
no one else can see her.
No one else can see her. And then when you see her side of the story, when you find out the flip, the twist, and you see her side of the story, you realize the whole class snickers and laugh at her. Like, sure, they think she's crazy.
Yeah.
But where is that best friend that's supposed to stand by her side and tell them all to, go screw themselves, you know, stop teasing my friend, I'll kick your ass or something. She doesn't have that.
Yeah.
Right? So both of them have, they have a lot of spare time, right? She has a lot of spare time to go to the future and see him. He doesn't talk to anyone else except for her. Yeah. Now, this movie skips through a lot, right? We barely see them in class. Like, we see montages of them in class, and the only thing you see in classes is him giving her meaningful looks or Sky giving him meaningful looks throughout this movie. Yeah. So you never see actual interactions or anything like that.
You don't see any interaction between any other person.
There's a lot of people.
Oh, there's a lot of people, but there's no interaction.
No, like there's a lot of, students wandering around, sitting down. It's not an empty world. Yeah. But they're just background. Yeah. Right? They romanticize it, as I said. You don't even notice it when you're watching the movie.
Oh, when you're watching the movie, you're like, oh, it's so that's so sweet, or like that's like, oh, that was really nice. When you can think back, oh, I have so much
so
time.
Relaxing, and the day seems to stretch on forever.
And then when you think about it, it's like, whoa, wait. I had a lot of friends back at school, like, or you'll be constantly doing something, you'll be constantly talking to people.
Yeah.
Like, how often are you going to, like, look, seriously, if your time spent during lunch is to go to the piano room and play piano, that's a bit sad, right? Yeah.
Even if you're a piano major.
Exactly. Like, even if I play piano, I did a lot of practicing back when I was,
and think about the number of times Jay Chou's character is sitting by himself eating lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like,
like even if it, like you either see him being alone or you see being with her.
Yeah.
And from other people's perspective, she doesn't exist.
So
he's sitting by himself, and he doesn't have friends that will come and talk to him and like.
Well, if he's the weirdo who always sits by himself muttering, or talking to thin air, then I'm assuming everyone would kind of like stay away.
But again, okay, so that's his character, right? So that if you look at it from an outsider's perspective, they're both kind of awkward and they're losers in some ways. They're loners. Yeah, not losers, loners.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have this other secondary character,
female character,
Sky, who's infatuated with him, and
she thinks he's
charming and he's like really cute and yet she doesn't actually exist apart from a few interactions in the whole movie. She's only there just to show how charming he is. That's all.
No. It's not to show how charming he is. Oh. It's to show how charming she thinks he
is. Yeah. So it's kind of like, if he really was a loner like that and people would stay away, why would you still have her being so...
Because she is blinded by his genius.
It's just, look, that's why we're saying with this film, if you look at it from a very realistic point of view, it breaks down really quickly. So just suspend your belief and everything will be fine.
Yeah, because look, the conversation between Rain and Jay, they're very flirtatious. Yeah. And they're not like stuttering. They're not awkward with each other. Yeah. They have fully formed conversations. They they're not socially awkward.
No.
Which is why you think that they're normal people until you think about the fact that they don't talk to anyone else in the movie at all.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, like, Sky is supposedly the prettiest girl in class, right? You could tell from the way.
Yeah, and she's as you said, she's a social butterfly. She has friends. She has a lot of. She has people following her, and she talks to a lot of people. So she's the popular one, apparently.
She's the one who was chosen to show him around, the new kid, right?
Yeah.
When he first started, but like you said, she doesn't have much role outside of being the thing that they talk about. Like she will ask him, "Oh, can you walk me home?" Right? And then he's like, "Oh, sorry, I can't." And then she walks away. Right? No problem, it's fine. And then that's the only reason why we have that interaction is so that Jay and Rain could have this conversation. They could flirt about. She'll be like, "Oh, so you can
walk her home. I don't mind." And he'll be like, that's all she's there for, so that Rain can have a talking point and have someone to be jealous over. Yeah, I guess
it's like a foil. I think. Yeah, like it's to show you have the popular girl, but he chooses her. Yeah, kind of thing, right? But it works in this movie. It works.
Yeah, It's just, especially when you're just looking at it from their point of view, it's fine. The movie is fine. Yeah, because you can forget about everyone else, really, right? And that's what you just kind of do in this. And I think that's what the movie does well, in a sense. It makes you forget about everyone else because they're not important.
Yeah, they're not important.
At the end of the day, the important part are those two.
Well, there's just an interaction, right?
Yeah, and you look at them and their little kind of like
bubble.
It's fine.
And the way they talk is very musical.
Yeah,
like it's very sing-songy.
Yeah,
like she would be like, "Oh, you could take her. You can walk her home. Or like she repeats what Sky says, but in a sing-songy way to kind of like, just to make fun of it, kind of thing. And then he'll repeat it, and in an even more ridiculous way, just to.
Well, especially like when like she asks him something and then he goes like, "Well, no, I'm not telling you because it's a secret."
Yeah, because she said it was a secret.
When he first met Rain, Jay was like, "Oh, that's
what's your no. What? Oh yeah, was it the name first or was it the music first?
I can't remember.
Yeah,
either way.
Yeah,
but she goes like, "Oh, it's a secret. I'm not telling you." And so like that becomes their little thing. It was like, I'm not telling you, it's a secret. And it's kind of sweet in that sense. And that interaction is what you kind of look for in a movie like this. And it does that well. It does that really well.
It's the kind of thing that when you were in high school, if you had those kind of interactions, it's the things you write in your diary about. Right? Like, I spent 5 minutes talking to this person, whatever it was, right? Like, how close she leaned into his ear, like leaned towards him and then spoke in his ear. Yeah. Like, I can imagine like a lot of, I don't know, 15, 16-year-olds like writing like, "Oh my God."
Yeah, it's like squealing in their
exactly.
In their mind.
Right?
Oh my God.
Which is why also this movie slightly breaks down because all these people are very
self-confident.
They're confident and they're very what's that word? Put together. Like they're very self-assured. No, I can't remember what the word is. My mind is blanking out. But they don't fall apart. They're they know what they need to do. They know what they want to do. They don't stutter. They don't stammer. They don't blush. They just
do whatever it is that they need to do. Even and especially and again this. Again, comes up to the whole breakdown thing. Even when something goes horribly, terribly wrong, the next day everyone seems to be fine about it. So, for example, Sky, Jay writes a letter thinking it was going to go to Rain. But obviously, because no one knows that Rain exists, it goes to Sky. And Sky reads the note and he's like, "I'll meet me at the piano room tonight."
At 7 p.m.
At 7 p.m. And so...
God, no. I mean, like, really? You're going to stay at school until 7?
Yeah, I know, right? Anyway, so, she goes into... And then, Jay's sitting on the piano, eyes closed, and,
playing the piano with his eyes closed.
Yeah. And then kind of indicates for... Sky to come over
and kiss
him. Because he thinks it's Rain.
Yes.
Okay? And so she comes over and kisses him, and then Jay realizes it's not Rain.
And he also realized Rain was outside the door and she saw everything.
Yeah, and then so he just immediately gets up, says sorry, and runs off after her. And the next day,
Sky is fine.
Yeah, like they talk. Like she asks him, "Oh, don't you have anything to say to me?" And he goes, "Oh, I guess sorry. I don't know what else to kind of say." And she's like, "Oh, well, that's okay." And then that's it. Like. No, like
in reality, she'll be like, "You jerk!" and slap him and run.
Like she'll be crying, bawling her eyes out, or be angry at like emotions. Like, she's so like, oh well, it's okay, it's fine. You know, we're all adults here. That's what I got. It's like, we're all adults here. It was a misunderstanding. It's all good.
But don't you see like the difference here? Because she's like, oh yeah, it's okay, I understand, right? It must be a misunderstanding. But on the other hand, you have Rain crying her eyes out back in her time, right? She looks like she's about to kill herself.
Yeah.
She's so heartbroken, right? Because this other girl kissed the boy she likes. And I'm thinking, that's a little bit over the top, maybe? Like, I guess people in the 80s had nothing better to do than to be completely in love. Like, I mean, seriously? Like, she looked like death.
Yeah.
Right? Like, she was so distraught.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, her mental breakdown was not just because of that, but because of the fact that her teacher betrayed her, her schoolmates gave her bucket loads of crap, her mother doesn't believe her, they put her into, give her a psychiatrist, which back in the day was a pretty taboo thing. Like, you go see a psychiatrist, there's something majorly wrong with you. And I'm sure that medicine didn't make her feel any better either, right? So then you have the frail. She becomes that frail, poor bird with broken wings, and kind of like lying in bed going, thinking about her true love while she slowly fades away and dies, It becomes a little bit like, really?
Is that all like,
I guess. Not very healthy. Like, I don't think your relationship with him is that healthy.
Yeah.
But in saying that, like, during that time, while you're watching the movie, when you think about how much effort she put into to make sure she meets him and everything, she really likes him.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, she likes him a hell of a lot more than he liked her. At least at that point. Right? He obviously really liked her after he figured out that thing.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about the ending, he goes back into the past and essentially stays with her. Stay with her. And you wonder, because it's not like he has a choice by then.
No.
Right? Like, he's trapped in the past. The piano's destroyed.
Yeah, he can't go back.
Although...
No, technically, well,
he could, because the piano takes you back 20 years exactly.
Yeah.
And when he went back, he went more than 20 years.
Yeah.
He went 21 years because he went back before she met him.
Yeah. Well, we don't know exactly how long, but it was before. It was before when she first met him.
Yes. Yeah. So technically, from that point, if he plays piano to come back to the current time,
look,
time loops and
time travel in this is not its forte. It's not explained well, and it's not very...
No, until the ending, it was pretty consistent, right?
In a sense that it doesn't deal with a lot of like what happens with the paradoxes in the time.
Because there's no paradox. She only can ever travel 20 years forward or back.
Yeah.
So when she goes forward in 20, it's whatever time she was when she left.
Yeah.
When she goes back, however much time she spent in the future passes in the past.
Yeah.
So it kind of like bypasses anything like, oh, is she aging slower than he is? Or any of that stuff. It's only when he goes back that everything breaks
down. Yeah. So... But that's what I meant. Like, that whole ending part just breaks the whole time travel thing. So again, don't look too much into it. Just
also, right? You know how she plays it slowly to go into the future and plays it fast to go back home.
Yeah.
He played really fast.
Yeah.
Although he wasn't going home, was he?
No.
Right, so it's kind of like perhaps that's why it broke it, because he's not supposed to be going back in time. He's supposed to be going forward in future. Who knows? Anyway,
so. What else do we want to talk about? Anything else about the characters that we want to mention?
Not really.
Visuals. Any particular visuals?
I love their uniforms. I wish my uniform at school was that pretty. Mine was just like a sack of a dress. The school dresses that we have, like the blue, red, and white striped, like closely striped mess of a bag-like thing with no shape whatsoever. That's what we got to wear in high school. And a jumper. And my jumper was huge. It was oversized, and it grew larger every year because it was wool, and every single time you wash it, it stretched a bit more.
Yeah.
It got longer than my skirt at one point. It was ridiculous. You could fit 2 people in that thing.
Yeah, I think because my school always had a pretty good uniform. Private school. public school.
Yeah. Don't make me go over there and hit you. You're not that far away.
Yeah. My school was actually, in all fairness, like not all private school has good uniforms. You know, some of them looked pretty terrible.
Oh yeah, the what's that one?
Waverley? Was it Glen Waverley?
Near Glen Waverley, Wesley.
Yes.
Yes.
Purple
And yellow.
Oh God, it was hideous.
They look like the Violet Crumble. That's what we call them, Violet Crumble.
Yes.
Their outside uniform looks the purple of the Violet Crumble packaging, and the inside is the bright yellow of the
Caramel,
honeycomb.
Yeah,
honeycomb crunch.
Yeah. So yeah, not all private schools has good uniforms. I must say, like, my school has a pretty decent uniform. It's pretty
just
colored.
keep going. Just keep going.
It's we had nice uniforms. We had nice summer uniforms and nice winter. Actually, I liked our winter uniforms more.
Oh, I like my winter uniform more because you can wear actually.
I think just in general, like, our color code was pretty good. Like they didn't like, it wasn't hideous colors.
What was your school color?
Yellow, blue, black.
It's
It's easy to make it look nice. Like, it's just like our blazer is like black with like yellow blue stripes.
Yeah.
On the side, it's pretty good, pretty nice.
Hey, no. My school colors was fantastic. Blue, red, and white. It's not hard to match them. It's just that summer skirt was disgusting. But the winter uniform was actually pretty good. You know, you got the blue skirt and white white shirt, and you can have a tie with the blue tie with like red stripes on it, and we have a blue dark navy jumper until you get to year 11. Then year 12 you get this bright red jumper, which was actually, it looks pretty good.
Okay.
And it fits better too by that point. But there's no way in hell I'd wear a skirt in winter, because I get to wear slacks in winter because it's freaking cold in Melbourne in winter, and
true.
you're not allowed to stay in the classrooms. You'll be outside.
Yep.
It's freaking cold. I'm not wearing a skirt.
Anyway, enough of school.
No. Well, I was saying the uniform is really pretty.
Yeah.
Like the white shirt, the frothy white shirt that Sky wears, you know, with the bow and everything. I was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah. There was one particular scene that I liked visually, which is the final scene where Jay's playing on the piano. Everything's because the building's being bulldozed down.
The building where the old
piano is being bulldozed, along with the piano, which, you know, for me is just like, why are you why don't you just move the piano? Because they're like,
perfectly well functioning piano.
It plays, it's still in tune.
Everyone practice on it still.
I know, right? Anyway, so he's playing on the piano while everything is falling apart around him.
CG's terrible. Utterly terrible.
It is 2007. Well, actually, it's still pretty average for 2007 CG, as you said.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of that scene. Like, when he's playing the piece to go back in time, everything around is falling apart. I like that visual. I like the idea. So, yeah.
Although, again, you can't think about it too deeply, because seriously, things would be falling on that piano, breaking it. There's no way he could still play it.
Yeah. It was so funny, like, because you do see things falling on his hand while he's playing it, but it just bounces off. And he just continues playing like nothing's happened. It's like, really? A piece of concrete just fell on you and your hand is perfectly fine and...
Well,
right.
no, even if it's perfectly fine, technically the music would have been disrupted.
Yeah.
Because you would have accidentally pressed another key.
All the things falling on it would press different keys anyway. So,
but he's a musical genius. You know, he plays so fast, he manages to bounce everything off the keys. Like, he moves his hand really quickly and swipes everything out. You know, like playing, was it Ninja? Like the
Ninja Fruit?
Yeah. But enough of making fun of it. It was a really good movie.
It was. Look, if you haven't watched it before, it is a show that we do recommend. Watch it, but do take it. Do watch it without thinking too deeply about the show. It is very tropey in some ways as well.
It's an anime, right? Like, as I said.
Suspend your belief when you're watching the film.
Suspend your disbelief.
Sorry. Yes. When you're watching the movie, don't think on things too hard, and just go for the ride. enjoy the ride. And the music is really nice, especially for the time traveling piece, the music that they play in order to time travel. It is a really nice piece.
This movie makes me want to play piano again.
Yeah, actually, the whole point we started that we chose this particular topic was because Serena wanted to asked me to play this.
Well, no, it was because I went to Queensland and they had a piano there, and they asked me, "Oh, did you want to practice something?"
Yeah.
And I had that piece of music, so I tried playing it terribly, and I'm like, "Oh, Peter, why don't you try playing it?"
And I was like, "Oh, I guess I can try because I've never seen it before."
And I'm like, "What? What do you mean you've never seen it before? Where were you? What? Where have you been living under a rock?"
That piece was a very nicely written piece, and thankfully it wasn't too difficult. I can practice it.
I'll either put a link or I'll put a piece of the music.
Yeah, just put a PDF on it. Okay, so that's Secret.
Yep.
I enjoyed it. Thank you for introducing me to this show 11 years after it was made.
I still can't believe you didn't watch it when it happened, because 2007 is pretty much the perfect time to watch it. Because, we just finished uni. Well, not just finished. We finished uni long enough that we don't remember anything bad about school.
Yeah.
Like, our entire education career, our schooling career, we completely forgot enough about it. We worked it long enough, 2 years, that we're completely disillusioned by our working life. So watching this movie and getting transported for slightly, for a tiny, sliver of time, 2 hours worth of time, we were transported back to high school, back to the...
reliving all the good bits of it.
Yeah. It was enjoyable for me.
I mean, it's still enjoyable now, but just...
You're a bit too jaded now. Do you even still remember high school?
Well, that's the thing. We were talking about this before, and there's so many things I've just forgotten about high school.
You can't even remember whether you had a core class that you...
I know, right?
Of students that you guys all moved around in. Yeah. Okay, anyway, we should talk about what we're doing next.
Yes, what are we doing next?
We are doing a book called Red Rising, written by Pierce Brown. It's a sci-fi book. It's about it's Mars. There's terraforming. The main character, he works down in the mines in the depth of Mars. Everyone that lives there are working very hard, mining the crucial ingredients and minerals required to terraform Mars. Their understanding is that they've been working for generations doing this, and they will have to continue working for generations to rebuild and make Mars a livable planet. But he finds out fairly early on in the book that Mars had been terraformed
already
and ages ago, and that there are a lot of there's a caste system, and there are rich people living on the planet, and he and all his family and everyone that he knows are considered slaves. They're working, they're kept ignorant, they're kept weak, because everyone that lives on the surface has been genetically modified or whatever, right? So a revolution kind of happens. He gets sent to the surface. He gets modified. He gets given implants and plastic surgery and everything. So he looks like one of them.
Yeah.
So he can infiltrate their top school, because he's only 15, 16, because they all age really quickly down underground, because they die really quickly early. So they have to get married early, they have to have kids early. And so he gets sent up to the surface to hopefully infiltrate the government. Because all the students, all the kids there, they get put through a Hunger Games situation. They get put through a really brutal schooling system. People die, and whoever survives, they become the next lords. They become the next political figures or whatever. And he is supposed to make his way into that upper echelon, as you said, so that he could make changes from a position of power.
Yeah.
So this first book is about him doing that, and it's pretty well written, I think. At the start of the book, you kind of forget how young he is because of the way he thinks.
Yeah.
And then you realize he's still a teenager.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
He actually is really that young. Just because he's mature because of what he needs to do in
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's the book that we're going to do. So
I've already read it and the whole series. I have to reread the first book so I don't forget all the details.
I'll be reading just the first book because don't think I'll have time to finish.
I think you'll enjoy the series though.
I probably will, and I'll let you know if I do actually finish the series so that we can talk about the series. Maybe, I don't know, given that I also have that game that I was wanting to play as well.
But you don't really enjoy it anyway.
No, I enjoyed the game, and I'm also talking about the other game, the Detroit game, that's going to come out later this month.
Ah, okay, right.
Yeah, so don't know how that's going to go. I might have time, may not have time.
I haven't. I you know how I've been playing Zelda.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I kind of stopped for a very long time. So Andrew was getting really near the end. And because this is a very open world game, so I'm like, you have all the power. Like, you're powered up enough. You could go and complete the end. And he's like, no, I want to finish everything in this world before I do it. And I'm like, that's going to take forever. And I've heard that after you've completed and killed the boss, you can still continue playing.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, really? Okay, so let's finish it, right? So I sat there and I watched him complete the game, right?
Yep.
Because I was thinking, okay, if I watch him complete it, then I probably don't know to finish it myself. And I watched it, finished it. Oh, it's fantastic. Then the credits roll, and then the credits finish, and it says, do you want to play again? Like, start from scratch? Or do you want to load up a previous save one?
Yeah.
So apparently you can't. You can't continue playing. You can continue playing, but you have to go back to a previous save. It will know that you've completed the game.
Yeah.
So there's a little icon to say that you completed the game.
Right.
But you go back in time. So the bad guy isn't defeated, and you continue from there, and you can complete the rest of it. But now I've ruined the game for Andrew because he's like, well, now I know I completed it.
Yeah. No,
I don't want to go and complete all those side quests because what's the point? And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. But it's an open world game. It's going to take forever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just finish it already.
Okay. So, let's do our closing.
Yep.
So, people can find us. I'll do it for once. Oh no, this will be my second time doing the closing. I think. So people can find us on our website at www.triggerpointfm.com/20.
Oh yes, I forgot to change it in the notes. Yes, it is 20.
I know, right? Smart. We are on Twitter at triggerpointfm. You can all...
It's so weird because it's obvious that you don't say the word Twitter much, because when you say Twitter, you don't. It didn't roll off your tongue.
Oh, I say Twitter. I have a very
yeah, because Twitter doesn't exist in your life, so you're like you say it with a lot of
emphasis.
Deliberation.
Yeah. You can email us at triggerpointfm@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook.
I don't look on Facebook anymore. I'm not going to post there.
Oh. Okay, then probably don't find us on Facebook then. Just use the other three. Anyway, I think...
I don't want to encourage the use of that platform.
Okay, fine. Anyway, that's it for us. So until then, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.